Philadelphia Eagles joint practice reaction is coming your way on today's Philadelphia Eagles Now. My name is Chase Sr. The Birds at the NovaCare Complex in South Philadelphia today, dominated by the Cleveland Browns. Should we be concerned? We'll talk about that and a lot of other developments, so let's dive right in and waste no time. Yet again, on this August 14th, the dog days of August, of course, it was another hot, muggy, gross day in South Philadelphia. Yesterday, we saw both Browns players and Eagles players struggling a little bit with that humidity, but this is what gets you amped up and ready for the start of the regular season. And so I think on all fronts, with what the Eagles are doing in practice, the things that they are practicing, going up against another team, dealing with some difficult elements, that can benefit them in about a month and change, especially when you also consider they are once again going to be traveling to a place like Tampa to play the Buccaneers, a team they have struggled to go up against the last few years under Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. Speaking of Nick Sirianni, yesterday's practice session, it was up and down for Philadelphia. They probably still got the win technically against Cleveland, but it kind of reminded a lot of people of that Panthers win from last year. Not sexy by any means. They were lucky to come away with the victory in that joint practice session. They could have played better. But Sirianni did like what Philadelphia did running the ball on Wednesday. They found success there despite this past game being a little bit choppy. He also added this, and this gets me very excited, that this Eagles offense is working on new wrinkles that they are not going to display or debut until the start of the regular season. So right now against Cleveland, they don't want that tape getting out there. They're keeping things pretty mundane and vanilla, but once the season comes around, they will start to do some new, creative things on the offensive side of the football, and Kevin Patullo, new offensive coordinator, has hinted at that, and that's what you want to see. Continue to adapt and evolve. The Eagles did not do that from 2022 to 2023. Them doing that from 2024 to 2025, keeping things fresh and new, it just makes you a more difficult team to go up against. As for some injury news for Philadelphia, Landon Dickerson got hurt on Sunday night. Then he got that meniscus procedure. Already back at practice today. Of course, not participating in practice, but he was walking around. It is his hope that in 3 weeks from today, because the Eagles kick off on Thursday, September 4th, as we record this show, Thursday, August 14th, that he will be on the field against the Dallas Cowboys. You can see here, he has a sleeve on that right knee. And what a kind guy Landon Dickerson is. He brought cold Miller Lights to the Browns offensive lineman in that bag right there. Man of the people, and I'd love to crush some beers, frankly, with Landon Dickerson. That sounds like a lot of fun. Landon, can you out-shotgun me? I don't know if you could, but I'm up for a competition. Sirianni today also non-committal on who will start at left guard in place of Landon Dickerson, because so far it has been Brett Tauth. So Sirianni's saying, I like the depth that we have there. I think that Brett Tauth is doing a really good job, and he has a lot of versatility. Elsewhere on the offensive line, the Eagles were shorthanded outside of Landon Dickerson, obviously not playing at left guard. Lane Johnson had a rest day today at right tackle. About midway through practice yesterday, he just stopped doing drills. Not an injury, just a veteran maintenance day for the best right tackle in all of football. Elsewhere on the Eagles injury report, A.J. Brown did not practice today. Hamstring issue. Remember, he has had a history with hamstring issues that hurt him last year, causing him to miss a few games. Eagles really being careful about that. When AJ is on the field, they're a completely different offense as far as points per game, yards per game, the passing attack, and most importantly, wins and losses. Lewis Cine did not practice because of a groin. Could be a practice squad candidate at this point. Landon Dickerson out, of course. Kenyon Green probably going to be out for the rest of the preseason. Might not even make this team. And then Lane Johnson rest, as I mentioned. Limited players. Saquon Barkley, he rested. And the Eagles have given him a lot of carries so far throughout training camp. It's been about even or more than how he was utilized last year. So far, not showing any signs of slowing down. That is a positive. Zach Bond, limited with that back contusion. And then Elijah Cooks did return to practice. He got hurt in that preseason opener against the Cincinnati Bengals. And today, the Eagles really did miss their stars. and that hurt them offensively going up against Cleveland, especially without A.J. Brown. This passing attack was just very clunky, and then Myles Garrett dominated this joint practice. He was also really good yesterday. He's arguably the best player in all of football. He showed that in these 2 joint practices in South Philadelphia. And of course, when you don't have that protection from Lane Johnson on Jalen Hurts' front side, that can hurt you running it and obviously throwing the ball too. Elliott Shore-Parks with this tweet. As far as a cornerback 2 update, Nick Sirianni says he understands the focus is on the cornerback 2 spot, but the team is not in a rush to name a starter, and they still have time to evaluate that position. And I'm not getting too panic-stricken right now, but the Eagles' cornerback 2 options all really struggled the last 2 days. Kelee Ringo didn't fare well, nor did Adoree Jackson. Jacorian Bennett, been up and down. Obviously, he's trying to learn this defense, but Eagles fans are a little bit concerned about this position because it is a huge question mark on this football team. And this Cowboys attack is not going to be easy to go up against. We can make jokes about Dak Prescott, but look, Dak Prescott is a very solid quarterback. He has CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, and the fact that Joe Flacco was torching this Eagles defense today, that's not ideal. And so the players in the mix at corner here, opposite of Quinyon Mitchell, Kelee Ringo, Adoree Jackson, Jacorian Bennett, and yes, there is a new name there, which brings me to this. There is a notable development at the Eagles' cornerback 2 job. We've all been talking about how Kelee Ringo, Adoree Jackson, and Jacorian Bennett are competing to lock down that starting job opposite of Quinyon Mitchell, but rookie 4th-round pick Mac McWilliams out of UCF is firmly in the mix. Why? Vic Fangio has been doing something very interesting the last couple of practices because McWilliams has been practicing exclusively at outside cornerback. He started camp solely in the slot. When the Eagles took him, I thought that was going to be the position that he played at the NFL level. He did both while in college. Vic Fangio also really likes the player. That is also what is eye-opening. He said McWilliams has some football savvy to him. 5'10", a $190, has nearly 4.4 flat speed, so he can really run. He's a former wide receiver, and you can see it with his ball skills and his tracking ability, just how he moves. And his open field movement is extremely clean. He causes late disruption with a lot of PBUs. He's also a very good run defender and does have some positional versatility. So Mac McWilliams is the player we haven't been talking about, who we have to talk about now, who could start for this Eagles defense. And of course, the story of the day that I mentioned off the top, and I've alluded to it a couple of times here. The Browns dominated the Eagles in practice today. We'll get into that further coming up just around the corner, but a reminder, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've had you covered with shows and sometimes multiple shows, long-form videos, multiple times a day, all throughout training camp and the preseason. You think it's going to stop when the regular season comes around? No chance. So if you want Eagles coverage every single day from yours truly, hit that subscribe button. In the month of July, we gained 1,303 subscribers. That beat our number from June. And so far in August, as we're about midway through, we're on a great pace here. 966 new subscribers. How many real ones can we get to lock us in and hit that sub button today? Join the movement and go Birds. These Eagles Super Bowl shirts, more than 50% off. We have sold over 30 of these, and we just started plugging these over the last couple of days. They were $40, now on sale for $18. Myself and Chip, we're getting some as well. It has the Lombardi trophy on the front, Super Bowl 59 logo with a New Orleans design around that Lombardi. I think it's beautiful, and obviously the Eagles won that game in New Orleans, the Big Easy. Head to chatsports.com/EaglesNOLA. I'll put that link down below in the show notes and attached to the pinned comment of today's Philadelphia Eagles. Now, it's a great shirt. Get it before the start of the 2025 season. All right. Eagles dominated by the Cleveland Browns today. Is it a concern? Let's dive in. First of all, the Eagles' offensive line could not block Myles Garrett all throughout practice. And yesterday on Wednesday, he also fared very well against the Eagles. Now, when he went up against Jordan Mailata, one of the top offensive tackles in the game, did pretty well against arguably the top defender and maybe the best overall player in the NFL. Myles Garrett catching up after practice here today, but Garrett was pretty much sacking Hurts on almost every single play. And the Eagles offensive line is looked at as a strength, the backbone, the foundation of this Eagles team. You're already without Landon Dickerson. You didn't have Lane Johnson. But the fact that Myles Garrett was torching this ball club here today raises some red flags. And why is all of this significant, right? Eagles starters probably not going to play at all in the preseason. So these two joint practices going up against the Cleveland Browns might be the only time that the Eagles face another team in a live setting while the bullets are flying before the season opener on Thursday against the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys, to start off a new regime under new head coach Brian Schottenheimer, want nothing more than to spoil the Eagles raising their second Super Bowl banner and taking down the Eagles on opening night. And so the Eagles right now, as a ball club, little bit rough around the edges. And again, if you're getting cooked by Joe Flacco now, what's going to happen when you go up against Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens? Week 2, oh yeah, you're going up against Patrick Mahomes. This schedule is unrelenting, and the Eagles need to be ready to go right from the jump. And today, they weren't after a slight but ugly win in that joint practice yesterday. And there was a sequence of plays where you're like, man, what is going on with Philadelphia right now? Jerry Jeudy can scoot. He can really run. But he beat Quinyon Mitchell for a touchdown. Quinyon rarely gets beat. Then you had Greg Ward breaking up, or Denzel Ward, Greg Ward, Eagles legend. You had Denzel Ward breaking up a touchdown from Jalen Hurts to Devontae Smith, making a really good play. We don't see Devontae Smith lose a lot of these battles often, but Denzel Ward did that against Devontae Smith. Joe Flacco hit David Njoku for a touchdown. This is an Eagles defense that, yes, has some new moving parts, but they were the number 1 overall defense in the NFL. Then the Browns caught the Eagles by surprise running a trick play for a touchdown. And then we had rookie versus rookie, mock draft sensation against mock draft sensation, Harold Fannin, the tight end out of Bowling Green, whose head coach then, Scott Loeffler, is now the Eagles quarterbacks coach now. Harold Fannin beat Drew Makuba, second-round pick, for a touchdown. That was a sequence of plays that almost went back to back to back to back to back to back. Not good. And not a good showing for Philadelphia here today. Got to give credit where credit is due. Makuba got beat by a fellow rookie. Then to end practice on a 2-point conversion, he had an interception off a tip on that 2-point conversion. Good mental makeup, way to flush that bad play, come back on the next play, and make a disruptive, impressive play. But with this Eagles passing offense, keep in mind, this is a very talented, very deep, very well-coached, and very good Browns defense. I know that we look at the Browns as a laughingstock, and they've been a laughingstock pretty much every single season since they came back to Cleveland. They've gone through a bunch of quarterbacks, but don't let their record hide you from the fact that their defense over the last few years has been one of the top units in the NFL. They just can't play complementary football at all, which is why that defense toward the end of games would sometimes wear down. But we saw last year, that Browns defense gave this Eagles offense a lot of fits. And yesterday, it was the same thing. The Eagles did not have a passing touchdown in 5 sessions going from the 25-yard line. That's the Browns' 25-yard line, not their own. So they couldn't really punch it in through the air. Again, Nick Sirianni saying we're working on some new things and some new wrinkles with this offense that we don't want to show the opposition until the regular season comes around. I'm not overly concerned, but this might be the last crack that the Eagles get it playing, going up against another team until the start of the regular season. So I leave you with this. Are you concerned about the Eagles right now? Type yes, type no. They do have questions at cornerback 2, at safety, along that defense, although Jeremiah Trotter Jr., another great practice here today. Let me know down in the comment section. And another reminder, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for daily shows right here on Eagles Now.